All right, Brian. So now we already chatted about your son a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you are a relatively young father.
Mm-hmm.
You're 32.
Yep.
And tell us a little bit about your son.
He's 9 years old. He's the most caring person I know, or at least in my
Nice.
life. Like,
Okay.
yeah, he's um, probably because I'm his dad. But like, I remember he'll always ask me little things that really shows he cares. Like when I was, it's about I don't know, a few years ago. I remember I was really sick, and then he had called me, and I guess like he realized after a few days, like when I didn't come to like pick him up and chat with him, he's like, "Oh, are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a little sick," and he tells me, he's like, "Okay, well, make sure you get lots of rest, drink some water," and then he
Nice.
reminds me that he's like, "And you can have some of my cough syrup because I bought him some cough syrup." So he's like
Nice. So
telling
just in
me,
case
just in
you were
case,
covered with his,
with children's
just in case you
cough
didn't
syrup.
have your cough syrup. Nice.
Exactly, yeah.
Excellent. That's so cool.
Yeah.
No, I think that I've only seen him in pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So far, he looks like a very handsome young fella,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I'd love to meet him one day.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That'll be hopefully in the near future.
Yeah.
And so, how often do you normally see him?
I see him two weekdays a week. Like so from Monday to Thursday, I'll usually pick 2 days that when I'm not working,
Okay.
and then I pick him up right at 2:30. That's when he's out, and then we'll usually go to the library nearby, or we go to SFU, which is the university at the campus close to his school.
Okay. So that's for the listener, Simon Fraser University here in Vancouver, and I already mentioned that in a different conversation, but it's basically smaller only than the University of British Columbia (UBC), and they have a nice campus on top of Burnaby Mountain, and it's some people say that it's a sad looking campus because it's very gray,
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
at the same time, like I personally find it beautiful.
Yeah.
It's perhaps not as green as UBC. UBC is also larger,
Mm-hmm.
and UBC is right at the ocean, so it's
Exactly. Yeah.
you get some beautiful views there as well. But Simon Fraser University, I find it nice as well. Do you normally go to the library there, or do you guys just chill?
Well, what we usually do is we'll either find a classroom, an empty classroom, or we go to an area where they have chairs and tables, and then I'll take them there, sit down, and then we'll study a bit, right? Like
Okay.
I'll help them. I'll either help him read or do some math, or we'll do some writing exercises, whatever homework he has,
Okay.
and then we usually take breaks. So I'll take him downstairs. I let him play in the computer lab. So I'll punch in my password and username. He can watch videos and play
Nice.
games. And then once his break is over, we'll go back up, and then we go back and forth. And yeah, so I mean, like that's really helped him improve in school, because the whole reason why I pick him up is because he's in grade 4 now. In grade 3 last year, like in the beginning, like he had the hardest time doing just rudimentary math, like anything above +2 to a number, and he couldn't do it. So I mean, like at first it was shocking and disheartening, and you're like, holy cow, like this, he's way behind,
Okay.
right? So, and then so at first I wanted to come every day, pick him up and like study with him, because I felt it was like an emergency,
Right.
right?
I remember actually we spoke back then, and I remember you were quite concerned.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's good to hear that things have progressed.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
oh yeah. It's been at least over a year, and we've been consistently doing it, right? I mean, like
Cool,
there'll be
okay.
only a couple weeks where, for whatever reason, either I'm stressed out or exhausted, and I just don't have the time. But I always try to read with them at least a little bit, and I have flashcards doing with math. So I mean, like, it's steady work, right? I mean, like, so
Yeah, I think that's so important, and especially doing it almost on a daily basis or at least a few times a week.
Exactly.
And it's the same with languages. You know, I think that, for instance, the more, if you're learning a language, or even if you already know the language but you want to continue improving in it, basically, if we don't practice often, we just start forgetting stuff. We get
Exactly.
rusty,
Exactly.
right? And math is just the same thing. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, like his teachers thought he would never catch up. Period.
Really?
Yeah. So like he has two teachers. They told me he'll never catch up. So I mean, like, so for the first week, I took that pretty hard, and
Yeah.
like I had trouble sleeping, right? So, but now I just
And he's
Like-
getting good grades now.
yeah, he's getting
Awesome.
good grades. He's catching up. He's
Cool.
meeting
That's-
like
yeah.
the expectations, right?
Excellent.
So he's making more than a year's worth of progress in the last year that we studied together.
Good, but it also sounds like he cares, and that's I
Yeah.
think really important
Yeah.
as well, right? Because I think that unfortunately sometimes even a bright young student, he or she won't care, right? And that of course that will make everything a lot harder for the
Absolutely.
parents and for the school and for him or herself. right?
Absolutely.
But you know, given that he cares and you're working with him, that's but I find that really really awesome of your part. Obviously, you know, you care and you're doing your best to help him, and I think that you know, of course, most parents do as well. But I think that many parents would unfortunately not be willing to take or willing or able to take that active a role. You know, I think that essentially most parents would just try to hire a tutor and like just sort of
Yeah.
delegate
Yeah.
that, you know,
Yeah.
that help to somebody else, or just basically point the finger at the education system and say, do something about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's your fault and
Yeah.
it's not my problem, kind of thing.
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
end. So I think that that's really noble and really awesome of you to take this really active role and basically, you know, in a way, tutor your own son.
Thank you.
Yeah. And obviously, you guys must have like an awesome relationship because like he's open
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
working with you and so on. And something I come across as well because, like you know, like I have I do a lot of tutoring myself for mostly for math. Is that basically, you know, a lot of the parents really take a step back when it comes to the tutoring. They'll just really hire the tutor and just so they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so
Exactly.
they'll just
Yeah.
hire the tutor, they'll pay the tutor and be like, okay, do the work, and basically they'll keep their fingers crossed. And of course, it's something about trust as well, because I guess they trust that with my professionalism, the child will be able to improve. But no, yeah, that's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I noticed huge improvements with him just in the first few months. Like he was able to focus a lot longer.
Okay.
Right. At first, when we're starting, going beyond 10 minutes was like I would just pull out my hair. Like he could not focus.
At that
long
age
enough.
too. That's,
yeah,
you know,
exactly. Right.
Okay.
So, and then he can focus a lot longer. And it wasn't until a few months ago, like one of his like schoolmates, he had seen us at the library studying, and he saw the huge stack of flashcards, and he's like, "Oh, you know, like, can you help me too?" And then, so I thought, okay, you know, like if I'm already here helping him, you know, I can help his friend out. And then when we're doing that all together, it was my son and then two other kids, right? Like, so I'm trying to read with them all, and I notice just from seeing them and my son, like how much progress my son has made, because
That is so cool.
He was able to focus on all the reading I was doing.
Yeah.
Because it was at least 30 or 40 minutes I'm reading this book, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other two kids, they every like 2 to 5 minutes, they have to say something, they have to move around, they want to stop. And my son's there, he's like attentively
Focused.
learning. Yeah.
Good
So, I mean,
stuff.
like,
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's a big problem for today's generation as well. Like when you and I were growing up, we didn't have as much disruptive information. Essentially, I think, you know, you and I, we didn't grow up with iPhones
No.
and the internet, and
No.
like I only started using the internet probably when I was I think around 12 or something. And back
Yeah.
then the internet was just so,
So slow.
slow and
So
like
slow.
and useless too.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you could-
exactly.
It was just really so like technology has made like gigantic progress since then. And something that I noticed as well, like I think I read this somewhere that people's attention span has been reduced significantly to about 30 minutes because of sitcoms.
Oh,
You it's
Yeah.
like psychologically we build expectation that most problems should be solved within 30 minutes
yeah.
because in the sitcom, like the whole episode is basically, finished in 30 minutes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
by then they had a problem, they worked out a resolution, and that's
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's funny you
So-
say that. Yeah, I feel this. I feel I'm turning into that too. Like even
Yeah.
if I'm watching videos or
It's
I'm trying
almost
to learn
inevitable.
something.
It's almost inevitable because it's just like
Yeah.
sometimes like on YouTube, I'll look at a video and it's 6 minutes long and I'll be like, oh, that's over 5 minutes. I can't watch this.
Exactly.
It's just so
Exactly.
long. Like
Yeah.
and which is so funny. And yesterday,
Yeah.
for instance, I managed to sit through Donald Trump's speech after
Oh, wow.
Super Tuesday.
Yeah.
And basically, like, and I wasn't even attentively listening. It was just like,
Yeah.
but I was just kind of interested in seeing what he had to say.
Yeah.
and especially because he's such a controversial figure,
Mm.
right? So I just wanted to see what he wanted to say. But I was surprised at myself that I was able to actually essentially watch the whole thing, which was 33 minutes, perhaps.
Wow. Good on you. Yeah.
Thank you. Well,
yeah.
Meanwhile, I was actually having a chat with my mom and so on. But yeah, apparently, like, everyone's attention span is severely because
Yeah.
we're being constantly bombarded by information, and the kids, their brains are developing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that whoever's 9, 10 years old today,
Mm-hmm.
their attention span is going to be a lot shorter, like in the long run too, probably, than our generation or even 20-year-olds. Although 20-year-olds have been, exposed to sort of the same thing, right? So like it's interesting to see like how each generation is probably going to be affected by media in general.
Yeah.
And so that's interesting. And what else do you guys do? Do you find Vancouver a nice city to raise a child?
Yeah. I mean, what I hear from a lot of people who come here, they say it's safe. It's so safe here. Everyone.
It is quite safe. That's true.
Yeah.
And being from Brazil, unfortunately, there's growing up in Brazil, unfortunately there has always been a lot of crime.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so the first time I came here, I was actually 15 years old, and I was just basically so impressed at how safe the city was and how my homestay family, the mom, she would just basically leave the car with the door open, and I thought, wow, like, are you seriously gonna do that? And she said, yeah, of course. What's the problem?
Yeah.
No one's gonna come and
Yeah.
take
Exactly.
anything.
Yeah.